We're going to get rid of our deficit or largely get rid of it.
We will start paying off our $20 trillion in debt.
We're going to start paying down debt. We have a lot of debt.
And now we're past 40 trillion, and he represents over 11 trillion of it. You got to love that, right? We've got a $40 trillion. And by the way, these other Trump supporters, they don't give a crap about this $40 trillion. Like, you're not going to see them mention this at all. Like, they don't want to talk about the $40 trillion that we are now in debt, that Donald Trump is responsible for an entire 11 trillion of it. Absolutely spectacular, right, Republicans? You guys are just doing a wonderful, spectacular job, continuing to sink our country further and further and further. But at one point, Donald Trump was all about, lowering the debt. At least that's what he said. But what was I telling you guys when he said this? I was telling you, no, he's not going to do this. He's lying. Why? How do I know that he's lying? I'm going to show you right now how I knew Donald Trump was lying. And watch what happens in this area of the screen. Can you guys see where I'm pointing right here? Alan, you can see where I'm pointing right here when I say this. Like, watch this area right here.
25 years.
You see what happened there? His lips were moving. That's right. And that's how you know he's lying. And that's what I told you guys before. If he's speaking, he's lying. Okay? But now let's listen to Donald Trump over and over and over again lying to the American people.
25 years to balance the budget. We'll do it much faster, folks.
We're going to get the balanced budget.
Carl, we owe $19 trillion. We're going to start paying off debt.
We have to start, getting rid of debt. We're going to pay down debt.
You know what it takes? Let me see if anybody can get the right answer in the comments. Let's see. I'm going to move to the real-time comments that are coming in right now. Let's see who can figure this out. What does it take? What's it's the number one thing that you need, okay? Pay attention, MAGA dummies. What's the number one thing that you need in order to pay down debt? It's really the only thing that you can use. There's nothing else that you can use, right? There's only one thing. What's that called? Let's see if anybody can figure it out. And Alan Hinkle, he is now champion of the day. Thank you. There you go, Alan. That sounds like the Republicans every time you talk about how they love high prices, though. I don't know. That's a little bit weird. Okay, but, thank you, Alan, for giving us the right answer. It is revenue. You need money. You need absolute money in order to pay down debt, right? We need money. It doesn't work any other way. In order to pay down debt, you need money. What's the worst thing that you can possibly do? I'll give you a hint. It'd be like Apple saying, we've stopped the production of iPhone. That'd be like, that's a hint for you. What's the worst thing that you can do to get rid of revenue? What would be the number one thing that you do? I'll just tell you the answer. You don't get rid of your biggest moneymaker. Yeah, you don't. If your revenue as a government is taxes, you don't stop. You don't begin to not tax the richest people in on the planet. Like, that's not where you begin, right? But that's what MAGA dummies do. And, they have everybody not everybody, because there's a lot of smart people out there, but they have the MAGA people out there. They're so entrenched in this, and they're so for this that they don't even know what's going on in real life, like this guy, right? You shook! They're so emotional, bro. They are so emotional. Robert Redford is emotional down there in the comments. So this is what MAGA men do, though. That's what, they're very, very emotional. It is also a reach because he's asking, he's probably asking me out here because we already know how MAGA men are. And this is just another different backdoor way, pun intended, for him to try to ask me out. No, I don't suck. Robert Redford, I'm sorry. And I know that you were hoping that there'd be a different outcome right now, but that's not the case. So I'm sorry. All right. Now, I've told you guys this before, Robert Redford. Please don't do that again. I'm not interested. All right. MAGA men, I'm telling you one last time. I am not interested in you guys, okay? Go back, Robert Redford, to your Grindr account, okay? I'm anybody else any other MAGA men watching me, I guarantee you that Robert Redford's screen name on Grindr is exactly like this right here. So just copy this, screenshot it right now. All MAGA men that are interested in him. You guys got it? Okay, good. There you go. You guys can talk a little bit later when it gets dark out. Right now it's daylight, so I know that you guys aren't into that right now. But when it gets dark out, we know what happens, right? We know what happens, yeah. Anyway, let's continue with Donald Trump's complete and utter lies to the American people, talking about how he's going to get rid of the debt, but yet when he got into office 2 times now, he's gotten rid of all of what Alan Hinkle told us we need. Revenue. He got rid of all the revenue, and now we're sinking further in debt. Once again, trillions of dollars, 40 in fact, to be exact. And 11 of that trillion is from Bobo, who you see here on the screen.
We're going to get rid of our deficit, or largely get rid of it. We will start paying off our $20 trillion in debt. We're going to start paying down debt. We have a lot of debt. We can wipe out that debt by being smart. The $35 trillion in debt.
Now, you notice how every time he says this, his lips are moving? I'm telling you guys, every time he speaks, he's lying.
We're going to pay it off. We're going to get it done fast, too. But we're going to pay down our national debt. We're going to pay off debt. We'll start paying off debt. And we're going to reduce debt. We will also start paying down debt. We're going to actually start paying off debt. And we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to pay off debt. We're going to pay down debt. And we're going to pay off debt. We are going to pay off debt. We're going to keep our money here. We're going to pay down debt.
We're about halfway done, ladies and gentlemen. This is how many times he's lied, and it's only a drop in the bucket of the actual amount of times that he's lied about this.
And we'll start paying down our debt and all of those good things. Okay, we're going to make a fortune, start paying down debt. Just leave me alone with the liquid gold. We're going to pay off so much debt. We're going to pay down debt. You know, we have a lot of money from tariffs. Yeah, we'll be paying down debt. I think we're going to be paying off debt. We're taking in tremendous money from tariffs. You know, we inherit a lot of debt.
Now, let me just throw this out there for somebody to do the calculation for me so that I can just punch it up on screen when you guys get it. Tell me, what is 250 billion divided by 40 trillion? Because that's how much the towers brought in, 250 billion. And that's on the high level, right? Like 250 to 30, it was probably more like 160 or 200 billion. What do you think they're going to do with that? Do you think that they're applying it towards the debt? No, they're not doing that at all. They're stuffing it in his own pockets, just like everybody else and all those other Republicans. The most corrupt administration we've ever seen in our entire lives. And by the way, what's our poll say right now? Because we have a poll up right now. And the poll says true is at 64%. So we have 64% of the audience that is right. Thank you so much for confirming that. We know that. But 36% are MAGA, and you know that they're MAGA because they have no idea what's going on in real life.
Who could have guessed that the guy who filed for bankruptcy 6 times or whatever it was may not have totally meant it when he said he was going to pay off debt? Who could have guessed as much, JBL?
I can tell you who could have guessed that. Me. I told you that was going to happen. Yeah, I'm the one who told you. And like me, just like many other people, and that's why she's saying it in a joking way that way, because we all told you this was going to happen. He was president one other time, and the first time he was president, he added 8.3 trillion to our national debt. And now we're past 40 trillion, and he represents over 11 trillion of it. You gotta love that, right? But let's listen to Joe Scarborough talking about it in more depth than I can, because they've got more resources than me, right? But let's check it out right here.
You know, it's one of the reasons I got to Congress and decided to run, was we were coming up on a $4 trillion debt.
The good old days, right? $4 trillion back then. And you know who it was that brought us out of that? A Democrat. That's right. Bill Clinton. And guess what happened when he was president? We went into a surplus. That's the last time we've ever seen anything like that. Yeah. And guess who took over right after that? And then gave another 2 trillion, another 2 gigantic tax cuts. Walker Bush. Who's that guy? He's a Republican. Yeah. just like they always do, right? They did the same thing in the 1980s. Ronald Reagan, then Herbert Walker Bush got elected, and then he didn't pass any tax bills, but that's what they did it twice under Ronald Reagan, cutting the biggest tax cuts at the time that we'd ever seen from the richest people on the planet. A lot of people always say, well, why is it that you keep on saying, like, they already spend so much money on taxes, like they spend more money than anybody else on taxes? Yeah, that's true, and that there's no arguing that whatsoever. It's just in relation to the amount of money that they have in comparison to the amount of money that we have. That's why you often hear things like they need to pay their fair share. And I'll give you this as an example, just so you could see what it is that I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a breakdown of the amount of money that's in the country, and it's broken down the percent of the top 1%, then the next 9%. So from 2 to 10%, the top 1% has 55 trillion of the $170 trillion, right? Then you've got the next 9% has 63. So the top 10% of this country, you can already see, has over $110 trillion of the, like $115 trillion of the $170 trillion, right? Then when you move into the next ones, this is 11 to 50th. 11 to 50th, right? So from 11%, the top 11%, we're going to exclude the top 10% and go from 11 to 50%. We have 51 trillion of that money. The bottom 50%, in its entirety, the very bottom of the country has only $4.4 trillion. So the top 10% in its entirety, all of the money is there, and we don't have shit compared to it. They have more than 2 times the amount than we do combined. The bottom 50% and the bottom from 11 to 50. So when we say that people need to pay their fair share, that's the reason why, because they have all of the money. So yes, they spend a lot of money on taxes, but in comparison, so I'll give you, let me try to make it as because MAGA dummies, they don't understand this kind of stuff. So you have to make it like really simple. So let's pretend that I have $100. Out of my $100, I have to give 40 of it to taxes, right? And that's 40% of my money I've just given up for taxes. The guy over here that's a top 1%er, he has $1 million, and he still gives us $100. So it's more than me, right? It's like more than twice that I paid. I only paid $40. He paid $100, which is $50. Like it's $50. It's like it's 120% more than what I paid. Except he has $1 million, and I only have 100. You see how this works? That's why they say this, and that's why we say this, because it needs to be balanced out, because otherwise it's just going to keep on getting worse, and we're going to turn into Russia or India. And Russia right now is just a complete disaster. It's been a disaster.